Hi, Mike. Thanks for joining us. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk with both GoSaaS as well as our additional clients as we work through some of the challenges that companies are seeing. So maybe we could start and you could tell us a little bit about your role with Nissha, what Nissha does, and really how it's impacted the lives of not just a few people, but millions of people globally.
Sure, absolutely. Thanks for having me, Avery. So my name's Mike Molea. I'm the director of IT here at Nissha Medical Technologies. So I've been with the organization for about 4 years. So in my current role, I'm responsible for all of the IT functions, whether we're talking infrastructure and security, you're talking about our business applications like PLM or our Oracle platform and as our ERP system, as well as our help desk. So all of that rolls under my purview across our enterprise, which includes about 9 different locations globally. So what Nissha is it is a subsidiary of Nissha Company Limited, which is based out of Kyoto, Japan. We're a medical device manufacturer. And what that means is that we have contracts with some of the larger medical device companies and distributors, such as Cardinal Health, Medtronic. There are a few other ones that would come to mind when you think of medical devices, but anything that you can think of from guide wires, lead wires, electrodes, defibrillator pads, surgical devices that are utilized and manufactured in some of our facilities, partially and wholly in our facilities. All of that is under Nissha Medical Technologies. So we're a growing company. We are looking to grow significantly over the course of the next 5 to 10 years. And our main focus is really through emerging technologies, where those are micro molded parts that go into a finished good as far for some of those items, or in general, just the finished good that we're manufacturing for the surgical procedures, anything that goes on or inside of the human body during some of those medical treatments.
So, Mike, that must lead to some really interesting engineering and supply chain challenges for Nisha, right? So, when you started this project, what issues specifically did you know you were facing, not just today, but looking into the future and helped you influence your choice?
So a lot of what we were looking at for our parts was around getting away from manual tasks, getting away from disparate systems across all of those 9 locations that I referenced earlier. So our goal with partnering with GoSaaS and with being able to deploy a system was to standardize our processes and realize synergies across all of our locations. So we do have engineering, we have supply chain at various locations that work together to produce the final goods, right? So a lot of what we need to overcome is the unseen items. So do I have the right inventory levels? Do I have the right version and revision of a part that I'm referencing? Has it gone through the right approvals? So all of those checks and balances that are being done right now through paper or had been done through paper previously, we needed a system to help us realize what's a streamlined approach that we could reference going forward for our long-term vision. So one of the things that I didn't mention in my overview of Nissha Medical is we grow through acquisitions a lot of the time. So by acquiring new companies, we need to be able to have a process that we can then roll out to those new locations and new companies that helps us to realize our vision of growth.
And so, really concentrating not just on your business processes today, but being able to look into the future and have a vision for those business processes and being able to adapt were probably very critical in your selection process and ability to move forward.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So reducing those errors that we currently have, looking for that seamless integration that we can have with both our PLM that we've chosen and our partner that we're working with, as well as just ensuring that we have the accuracy. So it's really forward thinking where we don't want to be looking backwards. We don't want to be looking just at present day of what do we need to improve, but we also need to set ourselves up for future success through a platform and the right integration.
So speaking of for success, what success and selection criteria did you have? Not just on the software, but even for GoSaaS when you're looking at implementation?
Yeah, so from my side, the main thing that I wanted to look at when we're deciding who is our partner to go with is one thing that I focus on, and this is true of both internal applicants and resources that we have, as well as external vendors, is making sure that we have somebody that A, has the knowledge in the different areas or the skill set to help support us in what our end goals are, as well as having the right personality to work with us, both from an integrity perspective, as well as ensuring that we can rely on them and know I have a direct contact with somebody, not just a phone number that goes to a random pool of people. So one of the criteria that we had with GoSaaS was understanding that they have dedicated resources for us to work with during the implementation process, and then also going to be there for us in the long term. So that was key for us. Building that partnership, building a relationship with vendor is something that we always look for. I don't want to just be a number in somebody's system. I want to make sure that we build that relationship. We're working with integrity together, and it's a symbiotic relationship. Both Nissha is going to have something positive come of it, and then we can also work with GoSaaS to ensure that we're elevating them as well, because they are a great partner to work with.
Now, Mike, did you have any quantifiable results or metrics from this PLM implementation? I know you talked strategically about digitizing your information in PLM and linkages to, your inventory and other downstream supply chain applications. But on the engineering and quality side, did you have really quantifiable metrics in those areas?
Unfortunately, not. So it's one of those gaps that we identified that we did not have a way to quantify what were the metrics of success. So I would love to have been able to say, all right, I want to ensure that I save 20 hours of engineering time, or I can ensure that I don't have any issues with quality or with regulatory that is coming up because we've had X number in the past. Unfortunately, I don't have those metrics, but what I'm foreseeing with our solution as we roll it out is to ensure that we can have more quantifiable metrics. We can look and have ownership, not just from an information technology side of the house, but also from the business side. So ensuring that they can look at it and say, oh, I'm able to walk through this workflow in a much faster pace. Here's how I'm doing it today at the next site that we might roll this out for. And in the future, this is what I'm going to see. So I think we're going to start to identify those quantifiable metrics, but right now, unfortunately, we don't, but we do recognize that it's a gap.
That's great. And that's not unusual, right, for companies as they mature along the life cycle, right? So going from, pen and paper, as you said, in many of your processes, being able to quantify and justify that is often difficult. Now, the corollary question to that question may be, did you still find this successful in terms of strengthening and leveraging your position going forward?
I did, yes. So I think it's helpful for us. We've seen that it's been successful because it's integrated with utilizing PLM and Oracle Fusion. We've been able to have it a one-stop shop, if you will, for our item management as well as our supply chain review, seeing those items, seeing how it's going to integrate in our inventory levels, and then being able to also have the revisions directly in the system. So we're not doing dual entry. We don't have manual entry and a workbook on the side that somebody has to then migrate into the system. So it's really a one-stop shop for the team And it's been very helpful to help streamline some of those processes.
So as you streamline those processes, Mike, and you move forward, where do you see Oracle PLM and this partnership between Nissha and GoSaaS, right, helping you drive innovation within Nissha, right? You talked about mergers and acquisitions. You talked about being able to monitor and build continuous innovation. What else do you foresee as being able to solve with this change in your platform?
I would say those are the main ones, but it's a lot of it is going to be about achieving synergies. So it's going to be about being able to leverage global teams rather than have site-specific teams. Disparate systems, ensuring that we can alleviate and get away from those obstacles that added time to our lead time, added time to our engineering efforts. And I think being able to ensure that PLM is implemented long term is going to be key for us to achieving that. And then from the vendor side, the GoSaaS side, it's being able to further our partnership and identify what are the different opportunities that GoSaaS might be able to help us with. Are we talking about long-term support for Oracle Fusion, expanding our relationship there? Is it just focused on PLM? Right now, we're going to be going down a path of saying, okay, GoSaaS, help us to support our system. You know what our culture is like. We know what your culture is like. And I think PLM and the implementation that we did there, it shows that GoSaaS is a great partner that we can utilize for a long-term relationship in more than just PLM. So as GoSaaS continues to expand their offerings, we would look at them to expand their partnership with us to include some of those additional offerings. So I know it's not specific to PLM, but that's where I like to build those relationships, build those partnerships with our vendors, such as GoSaaS, to have a long-term relationship.
Thank you, Mike, for all your time today. I appreciate you spending the time talking about the success that you've had with just this PLM implementation, but as well as the future success and partnership, right, that we really try and develop with GoSaaS and our clients. So thank you very much again and enjoyed speaking with you.
Appreciate you having me, Avery.